Bienvenidos, amigos, and welcome back to another episode of the More Life Diaries podcast. It's been a while, but we're finally back and we're ready to share with you guys, 1, what we were doing in Toronto, 2, how our trip in Toronto went, 3, how it is to be back in beautiful Puerto Vallarta,
Mexico.
We're back, baby, back to regular programming, so stay tuned. Let's get into it. Mic check, mic check. More Life Diaries podcast. Welcome back, y'all. Thank you for joining us on another podcast. I hope you guys have been enjoying some of the recent content we've been putting out, mostly me being in Toronto. I have found the motivation to start doing episodes again. Which is great. Unfortunately, I didn't have that motivation while we were in Toronto, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Guys, if you like the content and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel greatly. Other ways to support us, buymeacoffee.com/morelifediaries, where you can make a small donation and we actually use those funds to do excursions or check out restaurants for you guys. Even drop a restaurant that you want us to check out in your donation. We'd be happy to make a little episode about it. And check out our Airbnb. It's linked down below. That's another little project that we've embarked on. And we'll share more about that with you guys in just a little bit. So let's first talk about why we were in Toronto, Canada, back home.
We hadn't been home in almost 2 years, so we were due to go home, visit some family and friends and that kind of stuff. We were also trying to sell our house. Finally, we had attempted to before. Has just been being rented.
This was the third time that we were trying to sell our house.
And it's a nice house. Yeah. I don't know. It just wasn't moving. And I think, we gave in before and we're like, let's just rent it for a while and wait for the market to pick up. And at this point, we were just like, it's kind of a hassle and a headache. Let's just part ways. Like we
lied to you guys.
Yeah, we
did not sell everything.
We tried
to Mexico.
We tried to sell everything.
Desperately tried many times. But it had been a big weight on our shoulders for the last couple of years of us being here. Trying to deal with tenants from here was very difficult. So this time around, even though the market isn't what it used to be, especially in Toronto, we said, we're ready to finally go back and part ways with the house. We will get what we'll get, but we really need to part ways with our old life to kind of move forward with our new life here in Mexico. And that's exactly what we did. It took a couple of months, 3 months to be exact, but it sold finally.
Yes. And how do you feel?
Relief. Sad that, we didn't make as much money as we had hoped, obviously. That's a big part of, buying a house, but it was definitely our home as well. So it wasn't just like an investment property. We loved living there while we were living there.
Callie was born there.
We have so many great memories there, but it was really time for us to move on since we love being here. We were ready to move on the initial time before even ever moving to Puerto Vallarta. We told ourselves, if it's not PV, it'll be somewhere else. We'll figure it out. But we weren't happy anymore with Toronto and with living there and just the life that we were living and seeing, what the future would hold for us if we hadn't made this move. We just didn't want to really know that. So we decided to just, take the leap and move to PV. And it kind of, worked out. We're still figuring things out here. That's probably going to be a forever thing. But I think we're happy.
Definitely happy. It was bittersweet to say goodbye to it. There was memories. If we could put that house on a trailer and drive it down here, we probably would have.
Yeah.
But, it kind of visiting for the few months that we were there let us know that we were outgrowing it. Even if we had stayed this whole time, I think we would have been ready to move out of that place either way. And it just so happens that we were, selling it to be here fully here in Mexico without having to worry about what was going on back home. So it is a huge relief and weight off our shoulders that we don't have to, be like, are they renewing? We need to put someone new in there. Are they, paying on time? All those kind of stressors.
Also, just carrying the mortgage when it wasn't occupied by tenants.
Was stressful.
And over the summer was super stressful. I had to, pick up a job, basically a full-time job, just to be able to carry the mortgage while we were there. So it was very stressful, a lot of work, but we're happy to finally close that chapter and that book and continue this one and move forward with our life here in Mexico.
Yeah. So done. Next.
Otherwise, we were obviously there to see friends and family, which, to be honest, like between visiting friends and family and just kind of going back to our old condo and living there because I was working, we definitely liked just seeing friends and family and staying with them, and doing that thing was very refreshing because we hadn't seen a lot of people in a long time. So it was nice getting together with loved ones. But it really made us realize that, me having to work and living in the condo is something we don't want anymore.
Yeah.
It was very stressful. It kind of put me back in a mindset that we may never come back to PV. And I knew that we would eventually, but the house wasn't selling. I was back at work for, a big company. And it was just like a really weird kind of mindset to be back in. So I think we're looking forward to going to visit as much as we can, maybe once a year, once every couple of years, but just really focusing on seeing loved ones and spending time with them and family and doing cool stuff that maybe we've never gotten to experience before over there versus reliving the life that we put behind once we are there.
Yeah, well said.
And we did a whole bunch of stuff, went to Ottawa to see my family. My parents have relocated there from Newmarket. My brother's there, went to Newmarket and spent some time with Kathleen's family. Really also got to enjoy like the green spaces and the parks in the suburbs. So we really kind of enjoyed the things that maybe we took for granted when we used to live there, or when we used to go visit them for a day or for the weekend. So it was cool.
It was nice.
It was special.
Yeah. I think like the one thing I would do different is we were kind of back and forth a lot between Ottawa, Newmarket, Toronto, wherever in between. And I think, next time it would just be like, okay, like 1 month here, 1 month there, then back home instead of, there was a lot of driving around and
and
unpacking.
Everything's very far.
Everything's very far.
Not like PV where you drive,
10 minutes.
10 minutes and you're somewhere. It's like you're driving an hour.
4 hours.
I'd like to also maybe get to like Airbnb in different neighborhoods in Toronto. Like every time we go back, we spend a couple weeks to a month somewhere where we've maybe always kind of wanted to live or wanted to check out, but obviously like we're tied down to our investment, where we live. So it'd be nice to get to really travel around within the city a little bit.
And even on like, cottage areas and stuff like that would be fun too. But just less moving around per trip, less packing and unpacking would be nice. But
we also flew to Toronto from PV with Flair Airlines, which was a little bit of a stress because they don't have great reviews.
The price was too good to turn down. We're like, we'll risk it for that. It was such a good deal. We're like, well,
it was less than half of the next cheapest one, which was probably like Air Transat. It was a direct flight. Flair Airlines, which is a discount airlines from Air Canada, have heard terrible things. But we really just, went for it based on price, and we had no issues. But that being said, they don't fly back and forth all the time. I think it's mostly reserved for high season. Low season, there's no flights available.
Well, we left in low season.
Like towards the start of low season.
So the things that we heard were, bad delays, lost luggage, all of these types of things. But because we weren't going anywhere in a rush, we're like, hey, we're going back home. Like
Mhm.
my parents will pick us up. We just have to let them know if it's delayed. And that's like the biggest thing. If they lose our luggage, like we're not bringing much anyways, like we'll figure it out. It's not a huge deal. We're
Mhm.
staying with family. So we decided to risk it. And actually it was really smooth. There was a 2 hour delay, but while we were in the airport. So
Yeah.
we had what we needed to be comfortable.
And to be quite honest, I think delays are to be expected nowadays.
Yeah.
There seems to be delays for every single flight.
Yeah. So yeah, it was smooth. We actually like made up time in the sky somehow to not be as delayed when we landed. Luggage arrived fine. Everything was quick in the airport.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was smooth. And it was a nice, late night flight. So the kids slept half the way and
Mhm.
perfect.
What did you enjoy most about Toronto? And you can't say seeing friends or family.
Okay. The green spaces, definitely
Yeah,
just
splash pads.
parks. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to say all of Mexico. So I've heard Guadalajara and Mexico City have
big
great
cities.
parks. Puerto Vallarta, not so much. We have the beach, which is a beautiful, obviously, like lots of nature. But in terms of parks and playgrounds, green spaces, it's lacking. And it was just really
We
nice.
have sharp grass here.
And really hot metal playgrounds.
Yeah.
It was really nice to go, and there's just so many options in terms of green spaces in Canada. And it's not, the summer's so mild that you can
Mhm.
just be outside and enjoy it. So yeah, definitely parks, splash pads, community pools, which are really nice. The green spaces, and I think runner up, I don't know if this counts as friends and family. It's not really visiting them, but just having the support of the abuelas and the abuelos, like just having
Mhm.
someone around who's like, I'll just, I'll take the kids to the park or I'll make them lunch, and just having that extra support because really it's just us here. Um, I missed it. And it was nice to see that, to have that again temporarily.
Yeah, and be able to do our own
You
things
just be like, we're gonna go
every
out.
once and then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. And last one was the cool weather. We went in the summer so we wouldn't have to pack or purchase winter clothes, but somehow, of course, it's Canada. It was really cold when we got there.
Yeah, like
Um,
10, less than 10 degrees
yeah,
during
like
the
for
day.
us,
Like,
it was really cold.
yeah, very cold.
And I did appreciate though, because we hadn't felt that in a while, and it was nice to be able to have like a sweater.
Good for you. I did. I
Well,
brought t-shirts and shorts, and I had to go to Value Village and
okay, so we were
thrift and
parking. We were packing, and it was bringing a few sweaters and a few pants for me and the kids. I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want to pack another long sleeve?" He's like, "No, I'm good. Like, I don't
yeah.
need them." And then, even by Canada Day, which is July 1st, it was
And
still
still,
long sleeve pants. Like we were outside for a like campfire, and we still had like a blanket during the day wrapped around us. Like
mm,
that's how cool it was. But you would have went to Value Village anyway.
yeah. So that's basically our trip in a nutshell. Kathleen ended up spending 2 months there, and she came back with the kids so that they could go back to school. They had already missed a few weeks of school by the time Kat.
I think I was there 3 months: June, July, August.
Were you?
Yeah, you were there 4 months.
So Kathleen was there 3 months. She ended up coming back with the kids to be able to send them back to school. They had already missed a couple of weeks of school. And I was there 4 months. I thought I was there 3 months.
You just found out.
Which is a long ass time because we were expecting to go back just a couple of months. So took us, the 4 months to sell the house. By the time it closed, I was already back here. So, and by the time Kathleen left, we hadn't sold yet.
Yeah, I think it was the week after I left.
Yeah. So it was just me there, very lonely. As soon as it sold, I sold everything in the condo on Facebook Marketplace, which thankfully went really well. Everything sold within 3, 4 days, the big stuff, and then just selling all of the decor and all that. So, yeah, stressful, but we had to do it. And in the future when we do visit, I think it's going to be a big stress off our shoulders, especially not having to carry that mortgage when we're there.
Mhm.
We can just relax and really spend the most amount of time with family and loved ones. So everyone we chilled with this summer, Thank you so much. And we love you guys.
Yeah, no, we'll be back. Get ready.
Now being back in PV, that was like a readjustment for both of us, I think. We talked about it and we're like, it feels familiar, but very different at the same time. So how was it coming back to our beautiful apartment / studio, More Live Diaries?
So I think we had very different coming back stories for me and you. Even our flights were a lot different. Like mine flight back actually was, or just the airport was really stressful. We got there very early, but the systems were down. So even though we were there super, super early,
we couldn't check in.
Yeah, I couldn't check in. I was still racing, like running with the kids by myself, to the gate. And then when we got back, and this is a very important lesson, we didn't realize what the humidity does to your home.
Yeah.
And that we were gone for 3 months. I came back and there was like mildew on a lot of surfaces. Some things we just had to throw out. So
our couches were covered in mildew, mold, everything.
So having to get that cleaned, just going through everything, and just like with the kids too by myself, it was just like a very stressful few days.
And it was on everything: shoes,
belts, hats,
clothes,
just like
toys.
Had to drop everything and start cleaning immediately. It was not the best welcome back. So if you do have a place here, or you're planning on getting a place, like, it's worth getting someone to come in weekly and just running the fans,
run the AC on dry.
Keep your window. We weren't sure about the windows because we're like, it rains a lot. So like leaving the windows open, are we just going to get things wet? Apparently you are supposed to leave the windows open, have someone come in, just wipe surfaces down, and just do like a quick little clean. Worth it. Now we know. But yeah, there was that. And it was just this weird feeling of like, I know, like I've lived here for a year, like walking around the neighborhood, I was like, I just feel almost like a little bit weird in my footing. Like I don't quite remember everything, just off, just kind of like in a haze for the first little bit. And it was just weird to adjust to again living here without Mark. And I really, came to realize, not that I didn't know.
She didn't appreciate me, guys.
No, I did. And it was just like, oh my God, it's really like, to the single moms out there, I don't know how you are doing it. It was hard.
She hasn't given me a hard time since I've been back.
I don't give you a hard time. Yeah, it was just, it was a lot. I was very...
There I was in Toronto having the time of my life, relaxing.
All the alone time.
All the alone, too much alone time, which is also weird, but not a lot of work, but weird.
So just two different lives. There was like never ending work here. And then he was chilling, having a great time, going to the bar. Like, just kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not. It was, it took like a couple weeks, I think, for me to just feel guys, I drove for the first time in Mexico.
Kathleen gave up on taking the bus to school.
The bus. The kids hated me, especially Bassie. It's so like the heat was unbearable. We were coming back from kind of cool weather as well. I just could not figure out, like, there's a schedule. Sometimes it's followed, sometimes it isn't. I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, I just gave up on that. Then we started taking Ubers, but even that's kind of just annoying after a while. So I decided, I was going to drive, and I did it. I'm super proud. And now Mark's back, so I'm never doing it again.
It's not hard, guys. I find it more straightforward than driving in Canada. Everyone drives slow. And it's just like, once you know the rules of the road here, you're good to go.
Except some people don't follow the rules here. Like, it's very loosely held. And when do you go in the right lane to turn left, and when do you go in the left lane to turn left?
It's a mystery. You just got to know. You mess up once, and then you learn from your mistakes, and then you do it the next
You just have to know. How do you know?
So finally, I came back a month later. So Kathleen and I and the kids were apart for a month, which is a long time because we had.
And I drove to the airport to get him, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Princess.
Passenger princess is back. I handed Mark the keys and I sat my butt in the passenger seat.
Yeah. And I was sweating.
Yeah, Mark was sweating.
I've never sweat so much than when I stepped outside from the airport. The walk to the car and me putting my luggage in the car was an unreal amount of sweat.
Yeah, he had already sweat through his
dehydrated from the flight already.
His full outfit was soaked through.
Yeah,
just from that short walk.
But overall, I've been back this is my 3rd week, I think, and slowly adjusting still. It still like feels weird. Everything feels new but familiar, but it's like such a weird thing to try to explain. But we've done a lot in the 3 weeks that we've been here. We've checked out a few beaches already, which was really nice. We've gone for swims in the ocean. Haven't eaten as many tacos as we would have liked, but we'll pick back up in the next couple of weeks. We're still adjusting from poutines to tacos. I am, anyways. And we've just been kind of taking things slowly, but getting work done, getting back in the groove of things, getting right back into a routine. And we now have an Airbnb. So I've talked about it in the last couple of episodes. Trying to promote it, guys. Sorry. So the Airbnb that was previously hosted by Nahani, we had done an episode on it. She ended up moving back to Canada, and we ended up taking over that Airbnb. So now it's under our management. We're the host. We bought a bunch of decor from our house in Toronto to put in there. Basically gave it a little more Live Diaries facelift, still in progress.
But Costco.
Yeah.
Costco
run. But we're really happy with what we've done with it so far. It's actually getting booked up very quickly as well. So we're really thankful for those of you who do watch us that have booked there for your PV vacations. You won't be disappointed. The area is top of our list for PV. If you want to go out and explore, you're really right in the mix of things. So in terms of location, it's definitely top of the list for us anyways, and for what we look for when we travel. And the space is nice and cozy, and the bedroom's comfortable, and nice AC, fans, a little kitchenette. So everything you'd look for in a like nice little cozy Airbnb, you have it there.
Yeah. If you're coming to PV to explore, to be out, to go around and like see things, it's the perfect spot.
Next couple of weeks, because a lot of you guys have been asking in the comments about maybe getting a tour of it. We're going to do another tour since the space has changed a little bit. And of course, we're going to give you another neighborhood tour, maybe do some activities that we haven't done in our previous episodes, and check out maybe a couple new restaurants we've heard of in the area. But we're really excited to share that new tour with you guys. And we're really just excited to be hosting our first Airbnb here. Hopefully we'll get more Airbnbs to host in the future. That's our goal, would be to also I do real estate and do property management as well. So just a little insight on, the direction we're trying to go outside of more Life Diaries, but also it is related because, of course, this is a documentation of our journey here in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
Otherwise, anything else to add? What's going on in the next couple of weeks for us?
What's going on in the next couple of weeks?
We're going to be looking to finally make our way out of town a little bit more. We want to travel inland to San Sebastian, which we might be doing later on this month.
Sweater weather.
Hoping to get out to Puerto Escondido in the high season at some point, ideally in December, but we'll see. So, of course, we'll be creating content with that, but just really trying to branch out from PV, but also, we live here, so a lot of our daily vlogs about our life will be within PV. But just to get to show you guys, other places and how we travel and, vlogs and other places through our lens,
Yeah,
quite literally.
quite literally. What else is going on here? So it's at the time of filming, mid-October or sort of late October. Oh, apparently the Malecon is getting ready for Dia de los Muertos. They're starting to put up the calavera, which I'm sure we'll get footage of and spend some time out there. Halloween is approaching, which we need to figure out for the kids.
We had a great time on the
Yes.
Malecon last week,
Last
year for Halloween. It was absolutely crazy, but everyone was very festive. People handing out candy everywhere and getting ransacked.
Kids and adults dressed up really like cool costumes.
It was crazy because Halloween's not like that in Canada anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no matter where you're from in Canada, it is nothing compared.
It reminded me of
here.
like being a kid and like how hype it was. But if you are wondering if they do Halloween here, at least in Puerto Vallarta, yes, they do. But it's not house to house. It is everyone goes to the Malecon and just, you know, dresses up. If you are a kid or a big kid, just have your pumpkin or pillow sack or whatever you have ready. And if you are bringing candy, you will be swarmed. It will not last long. Just be ready for that. Like,
just stand up on something and say, I have candy. And then you just give out all your candy within a couple minutes.
Which is fine. Then you're free to enjoy and let your kids get candy. But yeah, it was really nice. And you're amongst all the decorations.
We'll definitely be getting footage of that to show you guys. I think we might have gotten a little bit last year, but we're going to get some better one this year. And Halloween's very fun, of course. Dia de los Muertos is also beautiful here. So we're going to be documenting that as well.
And mom tip, if you are coming and you have little kids, go earlier because it does get very, very, very crowded on the Malecon. I mean, I think we left around 8 and I was already worried that they were going to get like stepped on basically or like trampled. So but apparently there's even more candy later on, but if you have little
apparently it turns up later on, for sure.
If you have little ones or don't bring your dogs, also just it's very crowded, so just keep that in mind.
And that's about it, guys. That's all we have for you guys for today. Just us catching you guys up. Finally, me and Kathleen together.
They'll never leave again.
You need a chauffeur.
That's my chauffeur.
And we're just happy, guys, to be back and to be creating content again. Very motivated to grow more life diaries, whichever way we can. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. buymeacoffee.com/More Life Diaries if you want to give us a small donation, and don't forget to comment down below. We appreciate every single one of you. This is our journey, More Life Diaries. Peace.